Still more, they resented being sent south for skirmish duty, while Brian Boru was assembling the main army at Dublin for the battle to determine the future of Ireland. Young Donough was as frustrated as his men, though in his case it was compounded by a growing sense of foreboding. The sky to the north, in the direction of Dublin, was filled with black clouds that had been boiling in eerie configurations since first light. It was now late in the day on Good Friday, in the year of our Lord 1014, and the clouds looked more ominous than ever. Donough tried to reassure himself. "My father would never initiate battle on a holy day," he thought. "But what if his enemies forced a confrontation? Pagan Northmen have no respect for the Christian calendar." Watching the demoniac sky, Donough was increasingly certain that Brian Boru had already faced his enemies on the field of battle. The writhing clouds were witness. He turned his horse's head toward Dublin, and lashed its flanks with his horse-goad. Chapter 2. As darkness fell, members of Brian Boru's combined forces began trying to identify their dead. The gruesome task was accomplished with little conversation. Most were too shocked to speak. They were seasoned warriors, accustomed to the aftermath of battle, but none of them had seen thousands of corpses piled 5 and 6 deep, until today. Twilight was splintered by the shrieks and curses of the wounded, the prayers and moans of the dying. Many of the Irish chieftains who had brought their personal armies to join the High King against the invaders had been killed in the battle. Their surviving followers wandered, dazed and leaderless, through the gloom. Malachy More began gathering up these strays, and adding them to his own Meathmen. Malachy had no idea where Brian Boru was. He had not seen the Ard Righ, the High King of Ireland, as he had held his Meathmen apart from the conflict until its outcome was certain. Only then had he led his army down from the high ground to fight beside Brian's other allies. Now he was gathering for himself the remnants of a massive assemblage, warriors who had been willing to follow Brian Boru's banner wherever it led, even to death. The irony was not lost on Malachy. Litter-bearers approached from the direction of the weir at Clontarf, carrying a body. A scrap torn from a saffron linen tunic covered its face. Malachy signalled the bearers to halt. Recognizing the man who had been Ard Righ before Brian Boru, they obeyed. Malachy flicked the covering aside. The sightless eyes of a 15-year-old boy stared past him toward a cancelled future. "That's Prince Morrow's son," one of the bearers said. "The Ard Righ's first grandson." The man's voice was thick in his throat. "We found him floating face down in the weir, with his fingers still tangled in the hair of the last Viking he killed." Malachy ran his fingers through his own thin grey hair. He found himself recalling that Brian Boru's mane retained a faint gleam of red gold in spite of the passage of time, and appeared as thick as it had ever been. Such comparisons tormented Malachy, but he could not prevent them any more than one could prevent one's tongue from tormenting a sore tooth. "Brian is a decade older than me," Malachy thought. "He's 73 this month. Can it be possible? Where are the years gone, and both of us still fighting?" He shook his head ruefully, dragging his thoughts back to this time and place. He covered the dead boy's face, and asked one of the bearers, "Where's Prince Morrow?" "They're bringing him now," volunteered a Dalcassian warrior, limping past them in the twilight. Morrow's litter-bearers were Dalcassian heroes, famed for their strength, yet they were tottering like old men as they approached. Both they and the litter were bathed in blood. Malachy stepped forward to intercept them. "What happened to him?" he asked, staring down. The face of the corpse was uncovered, but masses of clotted gore obscured the features.